Welcome back to Real Talk, the show where we sit down with real investors, doing real deals, and uncover what's happening inside the minds of the best closers and deal makers. Today, I'm joined by Noah Clark, a powerhouse closer, working deals across East Coast, Southeast, and also Ohio markets. Noah isn't just closing, he's also teaching as well. He's put together 15 to 20 hours of free content that walks investors through everything from startup packages, sales processes, to marketing masterminds, disposition tactics, and also cash deals. Noah, before we get into the details, for those meeting you for the first time, can you give us a quick intro of who you are, the markets you work, and what's your day-to-day look like?
Absolutely, man. Hey, nice to meet you guys. My name is Noah Clark, like Noah's Ark. And I'm excited to be here. Appreciate the opportunity, Dion. Glad to see you. And for those of you guys that don't know me, 18 months ago, I was in college. I was going to the College of Worcester. It's close to where I grew up in Ohio. I was studying psychology, and I was also playing football. And it just so happened that 18 months ago, I also closed my first wholesale deal for $5,500. And that day, we were a month before finals, had a 3.8 GPA. That day, I decided, I really didn't decide. I feel God decided for me, hey, you're going to go all in on this. Let's stop wasting time. And so I took that opportunity. I went all in. I didn't go back to class. I didn't tell my parents. And I technically got expelled from school because, I ended the last semester with a 0 GPA for failing on my finals. But the thing is, when this opportunity was placed in front of me, nothing else mattered as much. Now, next to my wedding on the way, right? But whenever it comes to business and what we're going to do for a career, when you can step foot in virtually wholesaling real estate, it's not a door you want to exit. So far, for me at least. So
that's amazing. So what do those first 24 hours of working fully for yourself look like once you were out on your own?
Absolutely, man. The first 24 hours is different. For me, the first 24 hours was purely education, specifically Jerry Norton. Now, I went on Jerry Norton's YouTube and I watched days of Jerry, if not weeks. It felt like as long as I possibly could. And that was the moment I heard about wholesale, I guess. Whenever you decide you're going to go all in. But whenever it comes to once I closed that first deal and decided, hey, I'm burning the bridges, I'm starting a new life. I'm not going to school. I'm not following the crowd. I'm going to go blaze my own trail, right? Whenever I decided it's up to you. You can be fearful or you can be confident. Now, I'm sure I had a mix of both. I've always been a fairly confident individual. I thank God for that. It's a blessing. I've never really lacked much confidence. And so I would like to think that the moment I made that decision, I was as close to 100% set on me succeeding in this game as possible. And scary. You have no clue what to do. Whenever, you know what it's like, Dion, whenever you take the first step into the unknown and alone, it can be terrifying. But if you can't do that with confidence, is what I learned playing football. Noah, if you're going to make a mistake, make it with confidence. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I think that's totally understandable. Obviously, it's extremely terrifying. Let's say when you decide to deviate from a traditional path and then start out all on your own, and that you're 19 years old and 20, right?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so
I think I was 20. I was 20 actually. I was 20.
Okay, but still, that is pretty impressive. It's it's pretty young to take such a big risk, but it's amazing. So, was there any single moment when you knew you had to go all in? Was it exactly that moment you decided that you wanted to do it that way?
It was. It was the moment I closed my first deal, and I believe I told myself that. And here's something that not only did I see this happen then, I saw it happen later on down the road, but for some reason I would tell myself, hey, I'm going to close my first deal. And once I close my first deal, I don't have to go to school anymore. Once I close my first deal, I know it's real, right? It had to be real to me, and it wasn't because I had never done it. Now, when you have somebody like Jerry Norton and a bunch of other people on social media talking about it, okay, it may actually be real, right? But at that time, it was, I need to see it to believe it, which was kind of true, kind of not, because I still have the blind faith that I'm gonna go for it, whether I can see it or not. But it did take until I saw that to say, okay, now I can go all in. And then the same thing kind of happened. I told myself, hey, when I have my first 6-figure month solo, then I'll scale a team. It was the same thing. Hey, when I close my first deal, I'll go all in. Hey, when I do XYZ by myself, then I'll go all in with a bunch of people. And when I did that, then I did start taking the action to building a team. And that is a brand new game in and of itself. And I love it. I just love it. So it's really cool.
How big is your team size right now?
Absolutely. Well, just 3 weeks ago, we had 17. Today we have 6 cold callers, 1 SMS VA. So that would be 7 in the lead generation department. And then we have 3 closers. 2 of them are from Egypt, 1 from the US. So there's 7 in lead gen, 3 that are closing. I have an executive assistant who is also a transaction coordinator from the Philippines. So goodness, what does that bring us to? That's 10 right there. And then we have a dispo guy as well. So it's, steps 1, marketing, steps 2, acquisitions, 3, transaction coordination, getting the contract, and then 4, dispo. Those are all handled by my team right now. And it's beautiful. And so that leaves me with step number 5, collect.
That's amazing. Amazing. Like such a big team size and that too all happening in such a short time, right? Like you were able to scale your team. Yeah, that is pretty impressive. And I know that obviously you mentioned something about like managing multiple regions, like the East Coast, Southeast Ohio. How did you actually pick those markets? Like,
absolutely, man. We just had this conversation in our mastermind group last night. I told them, I said, hey, the biggest deal I've closed in my life was in the state of North Carolina. And I think I probably made more money there than I made in any other state. And there was no market research done. I didn't know anything. Last June, so 15 months ago, like I said, I started 18 months ago. 15 months ago, I said, there's something, I don't know if it's because it's cringy because my initials are NC and North Carolina's NC, but I felt something that said, hey, bro, like go. You belong there. You should be working there. I felt this is what I told the group last night. I said, I felt a magnetic pull. Something was pushing me to go to that market. And my first day in the market, I met somebody who was a buyer one of my best friends, you know what I mean? And so it was like, wow, that was really cool. And we developed a relationship, and the first XYZ amount of deals I did was strictly with him. And then we started growing, and then we got really comfortable in the market. But here's the thing, like it was internal. It was God. That's the best way I could explain it. It was God telling me, hey, go there. So I didn't do any research, bro. Nobody said, hey, this is the hottest market. It was literally, I felt something. Maybe it's because my initials are NC, and I just went for it. But then I will also say, Dion, what I learned is if you are just focused in one market, you can make a good living. If you're focused in 2 markets, you're doing good. You really don't, in order to hit 6 figures a month, $100,000 in a month, you don't need to be in more than 2 markets. You could probably do that in 1 market, to be honest. I mean, there's no way that's impossible, right? Obviously. But so I guess when it comes to selecting markets, what I did down the road, maybe 6 months after having success, I took a look and I said, where are my best deals coming from? All the deals we've closed, the highest assignment fees, where are they coming from? And I looked at that data and I noticed what archetype, what type of person that was. And it was similar through all of them. And so now we curate our data towards what that is. Rather than saying, hey, let's try this and see if it works. It was just like, hey, we just did it. Something worked, and then we found out what was it that worked. Okay, now we're going to do that again.
That's pretty impressive. Now, obviously, like I know you mentioned like you have a lot of like content which you actually give out for free. So I think one of the things which comes to my mind is a lot of the people, right, a lot of the coaches, let's say people who are in this market, in this area, they would normally gatekeep these courses, right? And even charge them thousands of dollars, which people are happy to pay for. Why give away so many stuff for free? Like, what's the logic behind it?
That's a good question. I will say I paid my fair share, man. Show me another 21-year-old that has bought as many courses as me. I would like to stack up and see, you know what I mean? So that's something I did a lot. I spent a lot of money in education and investing in myself. And I think that it's absolutely worth it. But when it comes to stuff like this, dude, you can find this information anywhere. Now, I did take the time to script, record, post, but you can still find this information anywhere. So I just figured, dude, there's a lot of people that reach out to me, to be honest, Dion. And this is, I'm finally getting to the answer now. And there's no point in just charging people for them to look through my videos. I don't believe in that. Now, if somebody is looking for something different, we're talking different. But let's let's just go close deals, man. If somebody tells me they use my free contract and my free script and they close the deal, that would bring me more joy than somebody paying me $10,000 to be in watch my videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No, I totally, but like fun fact, the thing is I used to work as a teaching assistant back in college. Yeah. So the thing is a lot of times like students, they would have like questions or like maybe doubts, and then maybe it might be certain steps or maybe certain theorems which I tell them and it might end up working for them. And and it does give you a lot of joy to basically see, what people are actually taking your lessons and then actually applying to the real life solutions. So I can totally relate. So like obviously one of the things which I want to know is running deals across multiple states, right? I know a lot of investors who I've talked to, they do this before. But then one of the things I know is that it's not very easy. Like sometimes when people have a belief, right? You know what? Stick with one area which you're good at. But if you try spreading it out, there's a good chance that nothing will work out in the end. For you, that's not the case. You have been pretty successful in working with multiple markets. What's the process or habit behind it?
Yeah, I will tell you that the people that tell you focus on one thing are right. They're absolutely right. I got ahead of myself. And the first time I had my first $50,000 month. Now, to make $50,000 to close 5 wholesale deals, that means you know something, right? You obviously know more than somebody that hasn't closed their first deal. You can teach people how to close their first few deals. But I got ahead of myself and I said, I've always been a coach, really. I was a quarterback when I played football. So actually one of my new closers said, dude, you run this company like you play quarterback. I love it. I used to play football. I'm like, let's go. So I guess I always loved coaching, just something about it. I coached baseball before I started wholesaling real estate. I coached high school baseball the year after, or 2 years after I graduated. So coaching has always been something I've done. And I've always been a leader. At least my father told me I was. And so I believed in it. I stepped into that growing up, And so, goodness, for some reason I said, okay, let me just start doing coaching too. Whereas I would have been way better off if I just focused all in on wholesale and wholesale only. And now I'm at the point where actually, the students within my group, this is why I gave the course away for free. I don't have sales guys. I'm not hopping on sales calls to try and get $5,000 from somebody to buy the course. I'm not interested in that. If somebody really, really wants to work together and be in our group, they can reach out. But I can tell you it's been a month, if not 2 or 3, since we've added somebody to our community. Because I'm very, very focused on the family we have in there right now. And I want all them to have a 6-figure month. I love them, The folks in there right now are the folks that did take the risk and invest and saw me and said, Noah, I want to learn what you know. And I said, you know what? Let's make it happen. And so I'm not worried about printing money from it and getting more clients in the door. I'm worried about the people that we have right now getting the absolute maximum results. So, Dion, when you say, how can you balance this so well? What I can say is I cannot balance it very well. The good thing is the one business is about the other business, but they don't necessarily help each other. And it's, so I guess to answer your question, I'm focusing more on wholesaling real estate because I think it's a lot more lucrative and I think it's going to make me a lot more money a lot faster.
So obviously, the cash deals. So I know you work a ton of them. So is there any particular like sales habit or any particular negotiation script you rely on depending on the market you're in? Or is
Absolutely.
it as you go?
Absolutely, bro. I will say one of the most important lines I can give you when it comes to being a closer is stay in the pocket. I had the most uncomfortable. Now, I don't call sellers anymore, but last night I called a seller on a duplex down the road from where I grew up, and I'm going to buy it. And so I was negotiating like a madman, and it was so uncomfortable, and I hated it. But the biggest tip whenever it comes, guys, you will never close a fat deal unless you include a fat assignment fee in your initial offer. So whenever you make that initial offer, the goal is just to keep them from slamming the door in your face, to keep them from hanging up. On the phone, it's so easy to hang up. You disrespect me with an offer of 50% of my house's value, I'm not talking to you ever again. But if you can position it in a way that makes it seem fair to them, it's a different ballgame. And what I mean by that is, Dion, you're asking 100. Here's how I'm making the initial offer. I'm not saying, Dion, I talked to the underwriters and the offer I got approved for you is 50,000. I'm saying, Dion, hey, to be honest with you, in a perfect world, now listen, this is in a perfect world, based on the condition you're telling me, I know I'm going to have to do this, this, and this. I will buy it as is. I'll buy it as is. You're not going to have to do anything. In a perfect world, I'd be between 38 to 55,000. And then you go silent and you don't say anything. Somebody said it in a video I watched. They say, go quiet for count to 8. And then just see what happens, which I believe in. I don't think you should talk because they will tell you what they think. And so if you can do that, and that is not to say, hey, my initial offer is 38, my max offer is 55. No. That's like your initial offer's 55. You just started off way lower and then came up with a big disparity. So they're not upset. They're just confused and they wonder if you're going to come up that much again. See what I'm saying? So then they're willing to stay in the conversation. Because the best closers are the ones that ask for the sale the most. So this is what I told my guys, my team, my closers, 2 days ago. I said, hey guys, we have to make sure that we are following this framework on every single conversation. Cash offer, cash offer, cash offer. Novation again. Creative. Dude, that's 7 offers on one call. Most people make 100 calls and won't even make an offer. So that's why my new closer in his first 6 days is able to get 6 properties under contract. Because he's making 6 offers every call. Some people are making 6 offers a week. It's all about numbers. And if you can just multiply your numbers without taking up more time, then you win.
That's pretty impressive. So, I think I have a follow-up question. Okay, so when you mention, let's say, okay, fine, a seller, he's planning on maybe selling the property at 100K. I mean, that's basically what the Zillow estimate actually shows. So let's say when you're trying to offer him a cash deal, would you go, I think right now you mentioned something about being in the range of 50 to 60, right? Yeah, so how exactly would the seller be comfortable taking an offer which is that much lesser?
Absolutely. They won't. And when I said this range to these people with this duplex last night, they laughed, said heck no, and said, Noah, come on. We didn't think you were going to be that low. And guess what? I didn't want them to accept it. I just wanted to get exactly what I got next, which was this. Then what's the best you'll do for it? And then I get their best number. And then we begin negotiating. See what I'm saying? So that number is not, it's an offer. It's not an offer. That range, that is a heat check. That is a temperature check. If they're asking 100, you don't know if that means they'll accept 60 or 90, right? You don't know. So you have to get a temperature check. And if you come in, Dion, this is probably what the majority of people do. Majority of people are going to come in and say, okay, we'll offer you 75,000 because they're like, oh, they're not going to be too upset. That's not too far away from 100. No. Just give them the low offer, but say it in a way that you're not just being don't be rude. Just be really nice about it. Give them the benefit of the doubt in their mind by saying, hey, this isn't a perfect world. This is if I do everything, just to let them know, okay, so he's saying there might be a chance he can still come up because that's where you want it to be. In wholesaling real estate, we as closers are buyers. We are not sellers. I don't need to sell anything. I don't need you. You need me because I'm the one that's going to give you the money you want. And so I'm the one sitting in the seat. You're the one trying to sell the house to me. I don't have anything to sell you. Get what I'm saying?
I never thought of it that way. It's actually pretty impressive. I mean, sales tactics. I mean, I think obviously when you're one of the best closers out there, I mean, you know how to work the market at the same. That's pretty impressive.
Cool.
And obviously you have also hinted at like expanding your education platform, right? So obviously over the next year, how does success look like for you? Like, is it going to be like new modules, like masterminds, or even bigger market moves? Can you break down for us?
Success for me in the next year. Every one of my students has at least one 6-figure month. And we just started a challenge. I don't know if you know this. We had a group call yesterday and one of our guys was telling the other guy, hey man, just stick to something for 100 days. Just stick to something for 100 days, something hard for 100 days. And I said, wait a second. I looked it up. How many days are left in 2025? It said 100 days. So I said, guys, let's do it. Every single day we report in here daily, how many days left, and we do a $100,000 challenge from here to the end of the year. Whoever makes $100,000, going to the beach and I'm covering your round trip. So that's success. At least in the next 99 days, that would be success. But when it comes to 2026, really it's this wholesale company, man. It's like our goal for Q4 is to close $1 million for 2025. Whether we do that or not, the goal will be either to close $1 million in Q1 or more than $1 million in Q1. You know what I mean? So what does success look like? My wife is happy with me. My baby's growing up strong and healthy. My business is booming. My employees are happy. And my students and I are laying on the beach. That's what success to me looks like. And everybody that I come in contact with comes closer to Jesus Christ. That's success to me.
Amen. Well, Noah, thank you so much for breaking all this down. Obviously, your approach to multi-market deals, sharing so much of free knowledge, it's pretty rare, to be honest. It's not something which you see nowadays in today's world. So for everyone's watching, follow Noah Clark, check out his Instagram, YouTube channel, and on top of that, also check out his free courses as well. You get 15 to 20 hours of content, which you won't get anywhere out there in the market. And that too for free. You don't have to pay for it. So it's even more better. So obviously, and on top of that, guys, if you're ready to run a smarter pipeline as well as close more deals without the guesswork, book a strategy call with Close to Control. And also on top of that, if you want to learn more about real estate and wholesaling, reach out to Noah Clark as well. So that's it for today's call at this Real Talk. We'll see you guys next week on the next week episode. And thanks to you once again, guys. Noah,
Thank
it's
you,
a pleasure.
Dion. Thank you.